breaking news, special feature stories, latest news, we bring you the stories that matter. Our team of immersed reporters bring you the news as it happens. Join us every 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. each day for a comprehensive look at the stories beyond the headlines.
221.
You're watching ABC News GH.
ABC News GH, your trusted source for news.
This is where the headlines are probed. Policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it is a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue?
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now.
Go on.
Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to resolve? Have you thought about managing that head-up?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the fray to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television.
21 days to the election. Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to your poll center for the 2024 election. You're watching ABC News. This is ABC Midday. I am Eric Trinibua. Coming up in the headlines. The release of the Supreme Court's full verdict has sparked several legal arguments, with the Speaker's lawyer arguing that there's no order binding his client. We will engage some legal luminaries and will bring you excerpt of that. Now, with exactly 21 days to the elections, we will cross over to all various camps to assess how their campaign is ramping up in the last lap of campaign activities. Still to come in the bulletin, the Ministry of Education says it has taken steps to investigate allegations of the distribution of some 22,000 bags of expired rice to senior high schools. Later in business, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications says telecommunications companies contributed over 9.85 billion Ghana cedis in taxes to government in 2023. And later, when we fly onto the international news, a new study from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has uncovered more death in the ongoing conflict in Sudan than previously reported. Stay with us, we have details of these and more coming up shortly. You're welcome to the bulletin. We're streaming live on YouTube, ABC News GH2, or to stream live. Let's get interactive there as well. Let's move on to a first story where private legal practitioner Yao Dankwam has explained that the mere behavior of a member of parliament does not necessarily amount what can be termed as a switch in allegiance or commitment to a party. Commenting on the Supreme Court's judgment, which ruled that an MP seat can only be vacated if they switch political parties in Parliament, he emphasized that while the action and decision of MPs can sometimes be viewed as contradictory to party positions, these do not automatically signify a change in political allegiance. He made these remarks in an interview on ABC in the morning.
Of your switch. But I mean, a behavior of an MP doesn't constitute a switch, because if that is the case, then we can never have a cooperation in Parliament, because there are certain policies that maybe at the incumbent government will bring a policy and will try to persuade the opposition to buy into their policies. But the opposition have to see whether that policy will benefit the nation, not because the idea is coming from the incumbent government or incumbent party. So if we support them, then everybody will know that they are doing well. And then when it gets our turn, they'll play. I mean, people will not support us. This has been the disease of Ghanaian politics. Then that is why there's no continuity. When one party starts something, or one government belonging to a particular party starts something which is very good, and they end their tenure, and the next government comes with a different party, they don't want to continue because they think people will give credit to that party. And this selfishness and this nepotism is what is killing our Ghanaian politics. And the Supreme Court was right to lay it bare. They don't have to support a party. They don't have.
Now, lawyer Danko further expressed confidence in the Supreme Court's judgment to bring finality to the confusion surrounding the parliamentary impasse witnessed in recent days. Speaking on ABC in the morning, lawyer Danko argued that the court's interpretation of the law should serve as a blueprint for future parliamentary conduct.
In this regard, I mean, like you rightly said, when we last spoke, I told you that no parliament can make any decision that will affect a future parliament, and the constitution doesn't make any provision for that, and the speaker cannot interpret the constitution. In fact, the speaker cannot even interpret their own laws, in parliament, except for the courts that can interpret whatever they have said or laid down. So the ruling gives clarity, and the ruling saves our constitution, and the ruling brings some sort of sanctity into our, into our constitutional provisions in Ghana. I'm so grateful for the, for the ruling and the outcome of it, and all along, for some of us who are a bit more interested in the Ghanaian constitution.
Well, still on some legal issues, private legal practitioner Mr. Thaddeus Sori has reacted to the reasoning of the Supreme Court in its handling of the vacant seat case initiated by Ifutu MP Alexander Afenyomarkin, and concludes that quoting, "There is no order saying that the MPs must be allowed in Parliament or order directing that Parliament recognize the said MPs as earlier ordered by the court contained in the majority decisions of the court. The order staying execution of the Speaker's ruling is now spent," he said. Well, let's still maintain on this interesting conversation because a political scientist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Mohammed Abbas, has urged the two arms of government, the executive and the legislative, to lend support to judiciary and to ensure its effectiveness and independence in the delivering justice. His comment comes on the back of the recent judgment by the Supreme Court, which has been met with criticisms among some members of Parliament.
Protector. In fact, these two institutions, they can bully us, the executive and the legislature, and they have been doing it. They have been bullying us, and the judiciary is what we have to actually protect us and redress whatever decisions or actions that are not in our interest. So all of this, what it tells us is that yes, we can have all these controversies or these disagreements, but finally, if we want our democracy to work, we must support the judiciary, no matter what it is. And then we must also do our best to support the judiciary.
Away from that, the Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa, Samuel Obin, says it is impossible to expect functional attendance to Parliament before election following the Supreme Court ruling that reserved the Speaker's vacation of 4th seat. According to him, with barely 3 weeks until the election, political parties and their members of Parliament are campaigning and will not forgo their presence at the various campaign grounds to attend a sitting of the Legislative House.
Before election. And we know how the 2024 election will be as much of the parliamentary elections as it will be of the presidential election. And each member of parliament that has the mandate of their respective political parties, as well as the parties themselves, will be doing whatever it takes to be able to win as many seats as possible, in the parliamentary elections. And with 3 weeks to an election, we do not expect that sitting members of parliament will give chances by wanting to, suspend their physical presence in their constituencies for campaign in the name of being in the national capital, thereby giving their opponents chances over them, and thereby giving their opponents chances over them. And so this is not just about the NPP and the chance.
21 days to the elections, and you are reminded that here at ABC, we still remain your poll center. We're back after this. And here at your poll center, we campaign for vote and not violence. As you go to the polls, you can only vote and not indulge in violence. Let's do some election-related news where the countdown to the December 7 poll have begun. And today is exactly 21 days for Ghanaians to mark their informed decision as to who they trust to lead the country in the next 4 years. We are witnessing mammoth rallies, TV commercials from the two major political parties countering each other on policies and petty statements. The NDC and NPP are all raising their boots either to break the 8 and come out as the number one preferred choice to occupy the seat at the Jubilee House. The Movement for Change also is in the campaign. The New Force are not left out, as they are also even pushing harder to break even to change their narrative. Now, the campaign and camp of the CPP, APC, and others will dive into their activities also. But before that, let us take a look at some of the innovative TV commercials of the two major political parties and the dynamism employed by the attractive attention. Okay, but before we do that, let's actually go on the phone and speak with some members of the political parties. Joining us via Zoom is the National Women's Organizer of the NDC, Dr. Louisa Hannah-Bissue. Doctor, good afternoon, and thanks for having you. Now, what's happening in your camp at the women's wing of the NDC?
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. And good afternoon to your viewers. A lot is happening on my side, the women's wing of the NDC, and not just the women's wing and the youth wing as well. We are out and about. We are doing retail campaigning. All the structures of the wing is actively on the ground. You have from national, myself and my two deputies, we are all lost, in the woods, moving from door to door, field to field, and doing our retail campaigning. Our regional women organizers and their deputies have also divided themselves. They're also out there doing the very retail campaign. We are leaving no stone unturned. When you go to the constituencies, trust me, we have some of our constituency men organizers and even some of the regional men organizers, they'll go to a community and stay there for 3 days to make sure that we leave no stone unturned. And we are visiting markets, we are visiting hospitals, we are leaving nothing unturned. And as a matter of fact, we are not only even seeing only to women and campaigning to women. Anything that can vote in this country, but reach out to them, especially to the unhappy MPP faithfuls who are really unhappy and they really want to change. Only that sometimes they want to hear from us, and it's going very well. The women are not sleeping, and this last days that we are left, trust me, we are going to push with every strength that we have.
Now, as the women's wing leader, how progressive is the campaign activity in the camp of the running mate from Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who is now more like the first lady of your party?
Well, she's not the first lady of our party. The first lady is Her Excellency Dr. Lordina Dramani Mahama. She is the vice president to President John Dramani Mahama. We have a very effective team that has been set and is moving with her. As we speak, she's in Savannah region right now. Remember that we have a lot of strength and a lot of forces. So what we've done is to divide the energies so that each one will go elsewhere. And we are moving. National chairman is on the field. Our youth organizer and the entire team is on the field. And the women's wing, we have our campaign task force led by my colleague and my own younger sister, Margaret Ansai, that we popularly know as Margot. She went into the contest with me. Is the head of our campaign task force. So there's a lot going on, and we anytime we have this any coordination, we have on our campaign team, for instance, the women's wing campaign team, there's a rep from the office of our Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. There's a rep from our flag bearer's office, and we have rep from the headquarters and other structures along. So we've really structured, and it's going down well. We've actually divided ourselves very well. So at any point in time, nationwide, we have an effective team on the ground working.
Dr. Bissue, kindly hold on there for me, because we have been joined via phone by Dennis Kwakwa, a member of the NPP team, communications team member of the Bawumia campaign team. Dennis, 21 days to the election. How is campaign going for the Bawumia campaign?
Thank you very much, my sister. Greetings to your listeners. Let me correct Dr. Bissue. Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is not vice president yet. So they don't have the office of the vice president. She's aspiring to be a vice president in future, which likely is not going to happen in 2025. Dr. Bawumia is right now in New Edubiase. We have picked intel. Yesterday, the NDC were here sharing 500 cedis to some traders in some church. But when you come to the ground, they collected the monies yesterday, but they still think that the member of parliament here is not deserving of their vote. And so come December, they are going to vote and bring back Honorable Dr. Bro. Dr. Bawumia has been well received in Ashanti region. We did not actually anticipate this much success in our campaign coming at this time to New Edubiasi, for instance. When you go to the other constituencies within the region, it was something enigmatic. Nobody can come back and talk about Dr. Bawumia's campaign in any wrong way. I think Dr. Bawumia is taking victory for the MPP in 2024. We are going to be retained in power to continue the good work. If you remember, Dr. Bisi, she's one person who said so much about the drones. When you come to New Edubiasi, there are 5 places that have benefited from the services of the drone deliveries. And they are now going to reward Dr. Bawumia for thinking through and coming out with such a good initiative. So, so far, so good. Dr. Bawumia is doing very well in Ashanti region. He's going to be showed love, and the MPP is going to be victorious. This time, we are likely to go beyond what Nana Akufo-Addo could achieve in 2016. Dr. Bawumia is going to make a very remarkable improvement in the upcoming elections.
Dennis, I'll come back to you, but you earlier mentioned that I'm, my sister, but unfortunately I'm Eric, but that's fine. I'll come back to you. But let me move to Dr. Louisa Busiu. Honorable, throughout the campaign, a lot of people have said that they have not have a feel, or I should say a touch of your what's it called, the running mate, that's Opoku Agyeman. What actually is this saying for the party?
Okay, so I want to also repeat to my brother on the other side that I insist that she's the vice president. You know why? Because your candidate told the whole world that he's not been useful for the 7 years, and now he needs the steer. Only good thing he has is in his pocket. We should give him the mandate before he can put to use whatever he thinks he has up in his brains. And so don't let us even go there. And you spoke about the drones. When you came first, you said you're going to transfuse blood. So come out and tell me one village where you send drones to go and transfuse blood. One village in Ghana where we transfuse blood. Don't let us go on that tangent. Don't. Hanabisu is not on the ballot. So don't, if you want us to go that way, I'll have my time and space for you, sweetheart. But now let me move away from there. A running mate and the vice president, because she's more effective than the vice president. I mean, polls has gone on, and her popularity is way up. She's working. She may not be that person. She may not be that person who is out there making that loud noise doing that. Professor Nana Opoku Agyeman, as we speak, she is in Damango and doing her door-to-door, her retail campaigning, touching ground with the base, and actually talking to people how it matters. If the MPP has any good thing to do, if they have tax whatever amnesty that they have to give, he should do it right now. Whatever he has, they should do it right now. You are saying we are sharing 500 CD to some traders or whatever. You know you can just say things and say them. But you know the good thing is that we are only few weeks, few days, not me. I don't even count the weeks. I count that few days. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be amazing, because we are moving to the polls and we are going to vote against lies and deceit. We are going to vote against hardship. We are going to vote against borrowing. We are going to vote against exchange rate. We are going to vote against the bad economic things that are happening in this country. We are going to vote against truth, against lies. We're going to vote for truth. If we have to say, that's a lot. If there's anything that his candidate has to do, he should do it, and it's now. Don't promise us. You say you give me 10 cities. You've not given 10 cities, you've given 1 city, and you come back and promise me 200 cities. Why should I trust you? And it's about trust. who can we trust? Who is trustworthy of his words? Who is trustworthy when you said this is it, who will not come back and spit on the ground, literally, translating from an account proverb and lick it back with their tongue.
I'll give you much time. I'll give you much time to talk, but let me also go to Dennis. Dennis, you have heard what Dr. Bisu have said yesterday. Also, we did engage the Deputy Director of ITs and Election for the NDC, who said that the NDC would win this elections with about 54 or 5% margin, and he also said that the Vice President, unfortunately, will not even surpass 40% vote. The NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, has also said that the NDC will win a one-touch victory. Doesn't this scare the NPP going forward to the elections?
Thank you very much, my sister. It's very unfortunate that medical doctor, Dr. Bisu, is still insisting to call.
Well, Dennis, I'm sorry. This is going to be the second time I would have to say this. I am Eric.
Eric, sorry.
That's okay.
So, it's unfortunate that a medical doctor is still insisting to call Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, a vice president of this country. Very unfortunate. And I wish she comes to a reality to know that the woman is only aspiring, which actually is not going to happen this time. You are talking about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And if you want to talk about credibility, you are comparing him to John Mahama. Come on. John Mahama has no credibility going forward in any election in this country. Every campaign message is given out there today is something that he spoke the opposite in 2016 when he thought power was for him. He thought he owned Ghana, and therefore he didn't actually think through the messages that he gave to us in 2016. Coming to realize that power is not for him. Going back to the people, he has now come to see the truth and saying every opposite of what he said in 2016. Now, our presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, did I hear Dr. Bisu say he's been useless? He has been more useful to the Republic of Ghana than John Mahama 10 times. President John Mahama, if you want to talk about useless presidents, then unfortunately to classify him aside because he's occupied the highest office before. But if you are talking about usefulness of people who have held offices in this country, she should never go there. We don't want to go that path. That is where they love to go. We don't want to go that path. Dr. Bisu should know that. If you are talking about credibility issues, President Mahama has none to give.
Well, Dennis, I asked a simple question. I was asking.
I'm coming to Eric. I'm coming to your question. Listening to the NDC say they win power is nothing new to you. In the year 2012, they were in this country. They won election from the people of this country. In 2016, they made their own projections in Ashanti region, for instance. They ended up saying they were going to get 1.5 million votes. In 2016, they declared themselves winners. And at the end of the day, they were losers. In 2020, they went to sleep. They lost elections, held press conferences, took people to the streets, got people killed, and got to the court to tell the people of the court that they didn't have evidence over every allegation that they had already given out to the people of this country. So if they come out today to tell you they are going to win, don't just be worried. The reality is that the people of this country have their own aspirations. They wanted John Sweet Mahama, could not give them in 2016. John Mahama could not give. Nana Addo and Bawumia have given us a lot of jobs. They were asking for hospitals. If you go to Dr. Abisu's constituency, her own constituency, hospitals that she equipped, lost election and went for the equipment, she should go back and check. We free equipped the hospitals. They were asking for schools. You have given them schools. Every single indicator that you want to measure in this country, the MPP has done far better than the NDC. So if you are talking about credibility in winning this election, then John Mahama is already a loser. Let them give their own projections as to what Dr. Bawumia is going to get it.
Dr. Bisu, you have heard what Dennis have said. Let me just take your final thought on this conversation.
By the end of this election, okay. Dr. Bawumia is going to
Dennis, thank you. We'll come back to you for your final words. Dennis, thank you. We'll come back to you for your final words. But let Doctor have her final say.
Well, I don't think he can have the final words. In the first place, I'm happy that he has a name and he has a position. And he said something on your station. And I want to put on record that I will take him to court and I will sue him together with the station so that he will prove why I lost elections and when.
Well, Dr. Bisu, unfortunately, we disassociate ourselves from this.
When you issue a disclaimer on that, when you issue a disclaimer on that, I know if you issue a disclaimer, but I'm going to go after him because I've been looking for one goat if you want to say escape, who will come out and say that I have taken hospital?
Dr. Bisu, let's be decorous. Dr. Bisu, I'm sorry. Let's be decorous with our West, please. Let's be decorous with our West.
No,
obviously, you're not happy with what he said. I understand.
No, escape got an insult.
Well,
escape got an insult, sweetheart. It's not.
Go on.
Don't tell me to be decorous. He said something. He's made an allegation against me, and this is something that has been running on. So he will go to court and he will explain and show and prove the equipment I took that they replaced. And for his education, the Tachimenti Polyclinic was a
I don't think that's going to be a problem at all.
Dennis, hold on. Let me take charge. Hello, Dennis. Let me take charge, please. Let me take charge, please.
With my fingers.
Dr. Bisu, please continue.
Don't try me. You have made a statement and I'm taking you on. You will prove it because the recording, I'm demanding it from ABC News. I went for some hospital.
Dr. Bisu, calm down.
Anywhere in Ghana, please. So let me just go on and I'll go again and say that when we say I wasn't part of his team when he told the whole world, told Ghana, that the good things, in fact, somebody who claims to be vice president, say if you do all the good things, what will you do when you become a president? Hello, his encounter with the media.
Mr. Dennis, unfortunately, you're not making the conversation smooth. Mr. Dennis, please calm down. Please calm down. You had your final take. Let Mr. Dennis calm down. Calm down.
A person like you cannot interpret the meaning of titles. How can you call Gena no my president, a vice president?
Well, once again, Dr. Bisu, let me just state it clear that we here at ABC will disassociate ourselves from Dennis's comment. As you say, you can take him on legally, but the station is not in charge of this comment or does not want to associate itself with this comment.
I request for the tape. Yes, please, because I really want to know the hospital I took the equipment from, and that
Dennis, please control yourself, please. Dennis, control yourself.
And you know, when I was coming online, I was not told I was going to be talking to him. So if he's on, when he was talking, my mouth has not been seen. It wasn't glued. I kept quiet. I'm a village girl. So I was trained in the bush. So I was taught to shut my mouth when others are talking. That's why I shut my mouth. Not that I can't carry him, or I can carry him with my fingers. And so I'm repeating that what he said, that they've equipped a hospital, that I went and picked hospital equipment. I'm coming after you.
All right, Dr. Bisu, thank you so much. Unfortunately, once again, we'd have to apologize for his comments and we disassociate ourselves from what he said. But finally, what do you have to say going forward to your electorate ahead of the 2024 election?
What I have to say to the electorate is that we have to vote for a president you can trust. Vote for a president who has a woman as his running mate. It's a woman with credibility, a woman that you can trust, a woman with a track record. Vote for development. Vote for somebody who will come and work so that the $1 to 17, $1 to 17 cedis or 17.5 at some places. Things will be put in place so that the exchange rate will go down. I've been to the markets. Market women that you don't think they even understand the economy. Because women, we tend usually not to move towards that. They will tell you that we want Joe Mahama to come so that at least if he can't even do anything, he should send $1 to 10 cedis. We gave you hospitals.
Dr. Bisu, let's wrap up quickly. 5 seconds, please. 5 seconds.
Gave you schools.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hannah Bisu. Thank
so
you. Dennis, yes, you can have...
Back to 10 cities. What was it when President Kufuor left power? We gave it to them at 1 city. How did they get to 4.8? When they came to power, a liter of fuel was 36 pesos. Then how much was it when they were leaving
Dennis,
power?
Unfortunately, we do not have so much time. Unfortunately, please wrap up in 5 seconds for me.
Economic issues. It's not somebody that the people of Ghana can trust with in managing the economy of this country. I believe that Dr. Bisu and the NDC are frustrated. They see the loss ahead of them. Whatever they do, Dr. Bawumia is the next president of Ghana. They can continue to insult you. That is not going to deter him. That is not going to keep him in frustration. It's going to continue to give the message of hope. The bold solutions that is presented to the people is what is going to continue to do. So by December 9th, whether they like it or not, Mahama is going to be declared the loser for the third consecutive time.
All right.
If they want to go to the court, they can go to the court.
All right.
If I want to quote Mr. Sedun Ketia, that would be uncharitable. I won't quote him.
Dennis, that's fine. That's fine. We don't have much time. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Well, that's all for the conversation for this particular segment. We also do have Solomon Owusu. I believe he's on the line. Solomon, if you can hear me, good afternoon. So we haven't taken statements from the political parties, and obviously if you were on the line, you heard exactly what Dr. Hannah Bisu from the NDC and Dennis also from the NPP have said so far. What actually is happening from the movement of change, the camp of Alan?
Let me greet your cherished listeners across the length and breadth of this world. In 22 days' time, Ghanaians will restore confidence in our governance system by making Mr. Alan Kyerematen the president of the land. The Ghanaian is looking forward to a candidate who is competent, who is credible, who is honest, and who is workaholic, and above all, a Christ-like leader. Mr. Alan Kyerematen continues to campaign in the remotest of areas in this country, never reached by any of the candidates contesting or vying for the presidency of the land. We started our campaign by doing what we call market-to-market campaign. From there, we did a meet and greet, and we have started a caravan, and we have moved beyond the caravan to venturing into areas, remotest of areas, where our message is being received. As we speak, Mr. Alan Kyerematen is in the Ahaf region, and the messages that are contained in the Great Transformation Plan is what he's explaining to the good people of Ahaf region. So we are campaigning. Beyond that, all other movement members are scattered around the length and breadth of this country, explaining to them why there is a need to depart from choosing any of the duopolies and settling on an independent candidate to be the president, to unify the country now that the country is very much polarized along political lines. So we are campaigning very much, and we strongly believe that the Ghanaian will settle on Alan Kyerematen.
Please hold on there. We have been joined also on the phone by Mr. Sapon Soprano from the camp of the CPP Communications Director. Good afternoon, sir. Obviously, campaign has begun, and we want to find out from your party how far with the campaign train as the election draw near.
Well, unfortunately, the Convention People's Party is very grateful, and we are campaigning, vigorously around the country, as you can imagine. It's not an easy task, but then these are dire times for the cost of living crisis, inflation, the inability of the Akufo-Addo administration, led by the chairman of the Economic Management Committee, the vice president, and now as you can all see, fundamentals of the economy are weak. It's not only the exchange that has exposed them, but also the migration rate. You need to take note of the fact that the migration of the youth this country from this country, the migration of the youth from Ghana and President Akufo-Addo's time is unprecedented. The only
hello, Mr. Sapon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, kindly position yourself well for me, please.
Go
on, sir.
The economic situation under President Akufo-Addo, the economic situation engineered by the vice president, who was the head of the economic management team, still is. The economic situations are so dire in this country that the youth of this country are leaving this country, migrating from Ghana in droves. Only saw it was in the 1988 era. There was hunger and famine.
Mr. Sapon, did you say people are migrating from Ghana with drones?
No, in droves. In droves.
All right.
ORES.
All right.
In droves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the extent that Mr. Bediakio, the president, had to write a letter to the Canadians to stop that. You understand? But it is a cry of desperation when the youth of this country, our greatest resource, is actually running away from this country. This is what is happening every day. And the Convention People's Party is campaigning vigorously around the country, assure the youth of this country that the future of the Ghanaian youth is best, in Ghana, that this is can best, actualize yourself. And towards this end, we are propagating the Ghana Bashe. Because you see, as a young person yourself, you'll agree, the youth are leaving this country in search of capital so that they can just come back and do.
Mr. Sapon, unfortunately, we don't have time, but let me ask you this. Of course, you have said that Ghanaians are tired between the duopoly between the NPP and the NDC. I just want to find out from you, as a third party or as a third option that you guys want to be as a political party, how far do you think your campaign so far have sunk into the ordinary Ghanaian? And are you hopeful that you will win this election?
What I'm explaining, that you have identified. That is the core in the youth, which is the because.
Hello, Mr. Sapon. Hello, Mr. Sapon. Well, unfortunately, we have lost Mr. Sapon over there. Mr. Solomon, are you there?
I'm here.
Obviously, so the same question I asked Mr. Sapon is the same thing I would ask you. Why is it that most of these political parties that want to be a third option, or a third, I should say, party, are not really focusing so much on campaigning to make sure that the NPP and NDC, as you people say, are not in the lead in this election?
On the contrary, there is no candidate vying for the position of presidency who is campaigning more than my candidate, Alan Chemate. What has happened is that the media is trying very hard to focus on the West, two political parties, that's NDC, MPP, and that is why it appears that they are rather campaigning, when in fact, Alan Chemate is the one who is rather campaigning. Our message is out there. Like I said, we are not interested in doing these fanfare campaigns where you go and bus people into a designated area and then get your cameras to video them and showcase to the world. We are going to the doorsteps of the voters that we consider as the kingmakers in this election. So we are campaigning, and it is never true. And I want to commend your station as being one of the few stations that is trying very hard to let the voices of other candidates be heard. Other than that, there is no way the Ghanaian going to vote in election 2024 will choose between the NDC and MPP, having had 32 years of destroying this country. I mean, there is an existing research that shows that 7 out of every 10 Ghanaian wants a change. And not just a change that is departing from these two incompetent political parties.
Mr. Solomon, please, we have just 5 minutes. 5 seconds. Kindly wrap up for us, please.
And so, for us, we have done enough. Mr. Alan Chemate, we believe, is poised for a major victory come December, and we know that the Ghanaian will settle on him and make him the president of the land to the United Nations.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Solomon Owusu is the senior communicator with the Movement for Change. Earlier, we did speak to the NPP and the NDC party as well as the CPP. Well, it has been an intense conversation, and your vote will matter. And of course, we'll decide what exactly will be the winner, or who will be the winner for the 2024 presidential election. Well, we have this piled up for you. We're back with some more stories. You're welcome back, and of course, we are your election poll center. We're back with some business news to stay. In business, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications has announced that telecommunications companies contributed over 9.83 billion Ghana cedis in taxes and related payments to the government in 2023, a 50% increase from the 6.5 billion Ghana cedis paid in 2022, accounting for around 7.4% of the country's total revenue. This contribution, detailed in the Transparency Initiative report by the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications and Electronic Money Insurance Chamber, highlighted the sector's vital role in the economy. Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, at the launch of the Transparency Initiative report, emphasized the industry's ongoing economic impact despite challenges, noting that telecommunications created 2,464 direct jobs in 2023.
2023, you had the fixed voice lines also declining slightly by 3.61%. And then the BW is the broadband wireless access entities. You have a total of 23.33 million subscribers. But the interesting thing is that broadband grew, if you put all of that together, it grew by about 1.85%. Mobile grew by 1.97%. Fixed broadband grew very rapidly, about 10.15%. Fixed broadband grew.
The CEO for Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, has stated that to secure funding for a startup, it is necessary for an entrepreneur to fall on family and friends to fund their new venture. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Mr. Jackson said that financial institutions are not ready to provide capital necessary to build a business as the financial institution is ready to give out money, he said.
It's important to realize that as a small business, especially in this climate, no financial institution is going to give you money. Rely on what we call friends and family. That's the only place to go. And there's a reason why you rely on friends and family.
Okay.
Those are the people who know you. Those are the people who can trust you. Those are the people who can believe you, because think about it. If you come to a financial institution, how are you going to prove that financial institution? How are you going to prove that financial institution? How are you going to prove that if I give you 5,000 cedis or 1,000? Think about it. If you come to a financial institution.
And that's all for business, but let's do some more local news as part of activities to empower women in the media to fully participate in the upcoming December 7 election. 25 reporters drawn across the country have been trained on how to report on election and ethical reporting. My colleague Peggy Nyakwabano files this report.
The two-day program, organized by the Alliance for Women in Media Africa in partnership with UNESCO, aimed at addressing challenges faced by women journalists in election coverage. The second section focused on the safety of women journalists in the digital space, including election-related gender-based violence and technology-facilitated gender-based violence. The convener for UNESCO, Abdul Hamid, addressed the dangers of misinformation in election reporting, with strategies for women journalists to avoid using fake news.
Of women, especially the threats online. We can do that hopefully after the elections. Our call today is states or the government should ensure that laws and rights designed to protect women journalists offline are applied online. And also, political actors should desist from attacks against women journalists. Women journalists should not be blamed for the online violence they experience, nor should they be expected to bear the responsibility for the managing on combating the problem.
ABC News' rep at the training, Peggy Nyakwabano, interacted with some of the participants.
With the two-day program of ALMA on election reporting, I have learned a lot. It's quite insightful, fun, and some way, somehow emotional. As a young journalist growing up and as election approaching, I think it is very necessary that we take our safety very serious. So joining this training has actually helped me, and it has taught me a lot of things that I think I'm going to. Election approaching, I think it is very necessary that we take our safety very serious. So joining this emotional as a young journalist growing up and as election approaching, I think it is very.
A report was filed by my colleague Peggy Nyakwabano. Well, let's do some more news. As a member of parliament for North Tong, Samuel Okudzeto-Oblakwa has alleged that 22,000 bags of expired and repackaged rice were distributed to various senior high schools nationwide. He claimed that the consignment was distributed through the Free Senior High School Secretariat in February. The MP, who also serves as the head of the Assurance Committee in Parliament, said in his investigation into the matter, after receiving a tip-off, the action was deliberately carried out. According to him, the National Food Buffer Stock Company clearly conspired with a company known as Lament Investment Africa Limited. They used the buffer stock storage facility in Kumasi in the Ashanti region to repackage expired rice. The company brought in rice from India, the brand Moshosho rice, which expired in December 2023. Upon realizing the rice had expired, they conspired with the buffer stock company to use their premise for rebagging. Meanwhile, the PR of the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng, has stated the ministry has initiated steps to investigate allegations of the distribution of some 22,000 bags of expired rice to senior high schools. He further described it as positive feedback relation by North Tong MP Samuel Okudzeto-Oblakwa and expressed gratitude to him for bringing the issue to the attention of the ministry. Oblakwa claimed that the National Food Buffer Stock Company, in collaboration with a company named Lament Investment Africa Limited, distributed the expired rice. According to Mr. Oblakwa, the buffer stocks storage facility in Kumasi Ashanti region was used to repackage the expired rice that had been imported from India. He alleged that the rice, which had expired in December 2023, was repackaged into locally produced sacks and labeled ECOWAS and Made in Ghana rice, which did not display any expiry date. In subsequent broadcasts, we will follow on this particular story because it's a pressing issue that needs more questioning and answers. But we're back with some sports news and more news. Do stay. And in sports, the Black Stars of Ghana find themselves at the bottom of Group F in the ongoing qualifiers for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations after Niger secured an emphatic win against Sudan, shaking out the ground standing and complicating Ghana's path to qualification. Sudan only needed a draw against Niger to clinch their spot in the 2025 AFCON, effectively shutting the door on Ghana's hopes. However, the Sudanese side succumbed to a decisive 4-0 defeat by Niger. This marked Niger's first win for the qualifiers and propelled them above Ghana in the Group F standing. Away from sports, we will bring you some international stories. Do stay with us. A newly study from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has revealed a much higher death toll from the ongoing conflict in Sudan than previously reported. The study found that intentional injury that were disproportionately high in the Kordofan and Darfur regions. In Khartoum state alone, researchers estimated over 61,000 dead from all causes, with more than 26,000 attributed to intentional injuries. Now, these figures starkly contrast what the killings officially reported for the entire country during the same period. Yet, the study also emphasizes the need for urgent diplomatic action to end the war conflict, adapted humanitarian responses, and continued efforts to document human rights violations. These measures, according to the study, are critical to reducing preventable death and paving the way for post-conflict recovery and reconciliation in Sudan. And that's all for international news, but there is a breaking news currently. That's about the case of Galamsey relating with Ashawan, as 3 individuals associated with the Ashawan case have been charged with conspiracy to conduct mining operations without license, violating Section 23(1) of the Criminal Offences Act, Act 1960, Act 29, sorry, I beg your pardon, and Section 99 Clause 2A of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 at 703. Now, as amended by 995 of the 2019, Lee Wing-gung, first accused, has been charged with false representation in obtaining a work permit in violation of Section 52(1)(e) of the Immigration Act 2000. Now, Act 573. Shi Minjin and Nana Kwame Opoku alias Obolo have also been charged with false representation in obtaining residence permits, also under Section 52(1)(e) of the Immigration Act 2000, Act 573. The third accused has been charged with facilitating the participation of non-Ghanaian in illegal mining, contrary to Section 995B of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, as amended. The charge arose from investigations initiated on September 14, 2022, following intelligence from the Ministry of the National Security in Kumasi. Wrapping up with some entertainment news. Entertainment Ghanaian dancehall artist Shatta Wale and his partner Mali have welcomed their first child together, a baby girl. Mali announced on Instagram on November 12, 2024, sharing a photo of her baby bump with the caption, "God did." She later shared the news on her Instagram page on Thursday, November 14, 2024, with photos from a hospital captioned, "A beautiful journey begins with your first breath, my sweet girl. We love you endlessly." Shatta Wale's manager Sammy Flex also confirmed this on his YouTube show. Congratulations to Shatta Wale and his new girlfriend Mali. A baby indeed is a blessing. But that's all for the package this afternoon. We are your election poll center. 21 days to the election. Don't forget to vote and not engage in violence. That's all for the package. Once again, I'm Eric Chinebwa Melo. Do have a great weekend and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, ABC News GH.